Facing obstacles and overcoming challenges are an inherent part of life, and how we respond to these difficulties can lead and define our past. Here's an exploration of common fears and unknowns, along with strategies to effectively navigate and overcome them. Welcome back to the Marcus Allgood Show. I appreciate everybody listening and watching. Send it out to your friends and family, whoever you think is going to get any kind of benefit out of it. And I'm back here on every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. is when I post my podcast, and appreciate if you definitely get out there and download it, listen to it on YouTube. Um, and let's get started. Well, some common giant fears and unknown hardships. Failure. Failure is probably the number one leading fear in America, besides getting up on stage and actually doing some public speaking. Probably the number one fear out there is just the fear of failure itself. The fear of failing is perhaps the most common. It can prevent people from trying new things or taking risks. And just getting out there and just doing what you love to do. It's going to stop you from doing a whole bunch of different things. My daughter's going through it right now. I go through it. Everybody goes through it. My biggest fear used to be climbing up on a ladder, going up on a roller coaster. Heights was super fearful. Even going to Colorado this past month, doing a couple hikes and looking down, like my palms get super sweaty, my knees get weak. I have to breathe real deep and just stay calm and just like not let my mind go crazy. Number two, and it's you're not gonna fall. There's a barrier there. You're not gonna just like somehow fall over the railing, but the fear is real and you gotta control it. Number two, rejection. Many fear being rejected, whether it's by peers, potential partners, or in professional settings. This can inhibit social interactions and limit career opportunities. I still go through this, especially in a sales field that we're in. When you send that proposal over, the negative, like if you don't hear right back right away, the negative chatter of rejection comes screaming into your head, super, super loud. And you really have to talk it down, say, no, maybe they're out of town, maybe they left for the day, all sorts of different things that you have to do to control the fear of, or not even but actually the fear of rejection creeping into your head. Let that person read the email, let them talk to their boss. Don't start going into those negative thoughts about it. And I do it all the time. It's very hard to prevent myself from doing it. Another one is loss. The fear of losing someone or something important can be paralyzing, affecting personal decisions and life choices. Losing a loved one can always be hard. I lost my mom back in 2012, and I know that was pretty hard. My little brother took it really hard, a little harder than I did. He was a lot closer. But just losing somebody, like my main fear from losing my wife is not being able to text her the stupid randomest things that we text each other all day long. You know those little thoughts that pop in your head, like it doesn't have to be like get bread or anything like that. It could just be like, man, today's a slow day, or I wonder what the kids are doing. Just something silly, anything that you normally shoot send your wife as a text message just because it's a random thought that popped in your head. You won't be able to do that anymore, and that right there like is gut wrenching for me, and like takes my breath away every time I think about it. So I really have to think about not thinking about it. Another one, change. Fear of the unknown and leaving the comfort zone can stop individuals from making significant life changes, even in the current situation is unsatisfactory. And that is really, really hard. Change is hard for a lot of people. My daughter has really hard problem with change. I kind of flow with it now. I used to have a big problem with change. Think about a marriage, and one of the spouses is being abusive to the other, or just the marriage isn't working out because there's so many things that are wrong that can't be fixed, or one person's super controlling or super narcissistic and makes the other person feel bad, blames that other person all the time. And that's the kind of abuse I'm talking about, not the physical kind. It can go both ways. It can go all sorts of different ways with abuse. But that person that's getting abused that change is the hardest thing for them. It's leaving the comfort zone because they're used to what they're doing right now, and that's what they know, and they can't see themselves outside of this realm thriving and being the person they need to be without their spouse torturing them every day. They know it's wrong. They know it's bad. They know they need to get out, but it's so hard to let that go and get out of the comfort zone that they're in and go find a new life for themselves and tell that person to get out of here, piss off. I got to go. You're terrible for me. I need to go be my own person. The fear is super real, and we see it all the time. Another one is inadequacy. The fear of not being good enough, often fueled by comparison with others, can lead to low self-esteem and missed opportunities. I know I've done this. Everybody's done this. We all do it. I still do it. My wife and I were talking about body dysmorphia the other day, and the body dysmorphia is real, and this inadequacy and body dysmorphia is going to make you have a hard time if you can't control it, because of the fact that you're going to have low self-esteem. You're never going to be good enough. Your body's never going to be good enough. Your brain's never going to be good enough. You're not going to be good enough for the promotion. You're not going to be good enough at your job. You're not going to be a good enough spouse. You're not going to be a good enough dad or mom. Like, it keeps going on and on and on. You have to figure out where to draw the line on inadequacies. Like, me personally, I get body dysmorphia because of the way I look. In my head is not the way my body looks. Like, I am pretty muscular. I'm pretty lean. You can see veins popping out of my arms. You can see veins popping out of my legs. Got big biceps, shoulders, striations, like all sorts of different things. But when I physically look at myself and think about me as a person inside my head, I don't look like that. I don't know why I can't get over it. I don't know why I can't picture myself as a muscular person at 175 pounds, just ripped. But until I see myself standing next to somebody else, I'm like, oh, my body is way different than their body. But when I look at it and I look down at myself and look at my arms physically, look at myself, I don't see the big muscles. I don't know if it's because of the way your body, your eyes look at yourself compared to in the mirror. In the mirror, I can see it, but physically, if I was to picture myself and draw myself out, I would not have a bunch of big muscles on me. I don't know why, but that's the body dysmorphia that I have inside my brain. All right, so let's talk about some strategies to overcome obstacles. You got to reframe the challenge. Positive reframing. View obstacles as opportunities to learn and grow rather than barriers. Changing your perspective can transform challenges into valuable experiences. And I do that often. Most people should start doing it. Reframe it into a positive. What are you going to get out of it? What's going to be the outcome? Is it going to be beneficial? Is it going to be negative? Most of the time, you can reframe pretty much anything into a positive and be able to have an opportunity to be able to go for it. Another one, break down the problem. Break it down into manageable steps. I've talked about this over and over in the podcast. Tackle obstacles by breaking them down into smaller, more manageable parts. This reduces overwhelm and makes the challenge seem less daunting. Taking that big challenge, let's say you want to make $60,000 in a month in your business that you're doing. If you break it down into weekly goals, if you break it down into daily goals, even into hourly goals, it's going to be a lot easier to manage and think about in your brain, how am I going to reach those goals? But you got to build it back in reverse to get to there. You can't just say I'm going to sell $60,000 this month and just hope for the best and not have it broke down into smaller actionable goals. Another one is develop a plan. Actionable steps. Create a clear plan with specific achievable steps. Having a roadmap can increase your confidence and clarity when approaching complex issues. And clarity is kind of the number one key word in this whole statement here, because of the fact that if you're not clear on what you want, you're just going in random directions everywhere, getting pulled in all sorts of other ways that you need to be going. You need to think about the goal is $60,000. I'm clear on that. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to get to the $60,000. I'm going to break it down into, I think, what's 30? So $2,000 a day would be about $60,000. Or $2,000. Yeah, $2,000 a day. Probably 30 days. So how am I going to get to $2,000 a day? I'm going to go out there and do some marketing. I'm going to pass out flyers. I'm going to put up some Instagram reels. I'm going to reach out to my network. I'm going to make cold calls. I am going to, think about all the different ways that you can generate business to make $2,000 that day. You're going to have sales calls. You're going to have you're going to work on your closing. You're going to have some script writing, all sorts of different things that you can do to develop the plan to make the $60,000 or $2,000 a day. Another one, you're going to seek support. Social networks. Lean on friends, family, and professional networks for advice and support. Sometimes simply talking about a problem can uncover new solutions and reduce anxiety. And having a coach will help you do that. Having a coach, just being able to talk to the person and have that person just ask you certain questions that will stimulate your brain to get you out of the negative thoughts and the negative chatter in your brain saying you can't do it. It's going to reduce the anxiety. And a lot of times just having a coach is going to make you feel better, make you feel more aware and that you're on the right path to doing the right thing, because of the fact that a lot of times we get to the point where we're in our business and we're stuck. We don't know what's going on, but we think we're doing it right, but we don't know because it's not working. And you get to talk to your coach and you're like, this is what I'm doing, boom, 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 boom. And they're like, yeah, sounds good. Just stick to the course. And it's just taking more time than what some other people have done because you compared yourself to others. And I do it all the time. I embrace failure as part of learning. The growth mindset. Understand that failure is a natural part of the learning process. Embrace mistakes and setbacks as chances to gain invaluable insights and knowledge. The growth mindset is really hard to get to because of the fact that you got to think positive all the time. You got to know that if you do this, this, and this, you follow the timeline, then you're going to get what you need. And there is no competition with a growth mindset. And there's so much out there that you can have a piece of it that is going to help you survive in life and actually get you to where you want to go. It doesn't matter if the business sets up right beside you. It doesn't matter if the business copies you. You should be able to have the growth mindset that you can't service all the customers out there, and you can share the wealth and just you can try and be number one, of course, and take most of the market share, but you'll never get all the market share on anything that you do. Another one, educate yourself. Preparation and research. Equip yourself with knowledge about what you're facing. Understanding the intricacies of your challenge can demystify fears and reduce the intimidation factor. The more you know, the less intimidation you're going to have. Like the more you study about one thing, like if you became a master of something, you studied it for a year on atoms. If you studied atoms for a year, you'd almost become a master at it. If you studied every day, you'd be able to talk about it and not have the intimidation factor of going up in front of somebody trying to talk to them about it. Me personally, it's not important to me. It's not higher on my priority list, and it just doesn't really bring me joy. So I'm not going to study atoms for a whole year. I'd much rather study nutrition, psychology, working out, all sorts of other things that I could study. Even learn how to make better Instagram reels, learn how to do the podcast better. Because we can always be better at something that we're excited about. It's hard to do better at something that you're not excited about. Another one, practice mindfulness. Stay present. Focus on the present moment rather than worrying about future possibilities or past failures. Mindfulness can reduce anxiety and enhance your decision-making capabilities. I used to live in the past and think about the past all the time. Now I pretty much have forgotten most of the past. I don't know. If you came up to me and asked me, like, what happened 15 years ago, I couldn't tell you. I'd have to call my buddy Jack. I'd have to phone a friend, call Jack and be like, what happened 15 years ago? And then he'd probably tell us, and then I'd probably deny it, and we'd go from there. So that's just that. But I do thinking in the future of what something will happen is what's causing you anxiety. If you can't stay present, if you are not present right now and you keep thinking in the future, your mind is going to race like, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And then none of it happens. You lived it for no reason at all. So sometimes it's good. Most of the time it's going to be bad. It's just going to put you in a state of anxiety and your heart's going to be all like, I can't sleep. All right. Visualize success. Positive visualization. Imagine successfully overcoming your obstacles. Visualization can boost your motivation and help manifest success through positive thinking. Visualize where you want to be. Visualize the success. Visualize positivity coming into your coming into your brain, and just visualize being the person that you need to be successful and to get past everything that's going on in your life right now. Maintain a balanced perspective, long-term view. Keep a balanced view of the situation. Acknowledge the obstacle's significance without allowing it to dominate your thoughts and actions entirely. Another thing, going back up to the other one, you can't let it dominate you. You can think about it, but don't let it overwhelm you, and don't let it keep going in your brain over and over and over, and then getting deeper and deeper and deeper, chasing that rabbit hole and chasing the rabbit that you don't need to be chasing. There's no carrot at the end. There's no rainbow at the end of that anxiety dump that you're about to do. All right, so by implementing these strategies, you can build a toolkit that not only helps you face current challenges, but also prepares you for future hurdles, fostering personal growth and resilience along the way. I appreciate everybody listening. If you got any questions, reach out to me. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, any one of those you can find me on, even YouTube. And I appreciate everybody listening. Y'all have a great day. Thanks a lot. Bye.